What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again for another BFR. Game 75, only 7 games left, versus St. Louis Blues was at 7 o'clock on March 30th. Before the game, Brent Sini was signed to a 1-year extension with league min $775,000. This was Austin Wagner's first game as a Blackhawks, and it was his first game since in the NHL since 2021. He was injured. He did have a hand injury, which prevented his debut from the start. The score ends up being 5-3 for St. Louis, which is excellent. Record 24-45-6 now. Shots were 33-29 Chicago. Hits were 24-16 St. Louis. Faceoffs 28-18 St. Louis. Power play, Chicago goes 2 for 3 surprisingly. St. Louis goes 0 for 2. Wagner and Englund are in. Mitchell and Kaiser are out. And I was scared the Hawks were going to win this game. I really thought they were going to win this game, and thankfully they didn't. To address the elephant in the room of what possible jersey am I wearing, is this isn't normally a color that I'd wear. So, firstly, we got this Phoenix Coyotes jersey. As you can see, got the Phoenix right here, PHX. We got a Reebok. We got the white. This was right before they became the Arizona Coyotes. We got this logo, the Howling Wolf, or as I like to say, the Yawning Coyote. No one on the back. Nice jersey. Overall, not one of my favorites that I own, but you know what? I got it for cheap, and it's another jersey to add to the collection, so it's a win-win. But second Coyotes jersey, second Phoenix Coyotes jersey. I still don't have an Arizona Coyotes jersey, ironically, but whatever. In the first period, there's no shots for either team 8 minutes in. First shot, or 5 minutes in. First shot was at 7 minutes in, and that was for St. Louis. Both teams are blocking shots early. Wagner has a break that's saved. The Hawks were getting pucks on net. Entwistle to Kachuk was just wide. Pitlick is saved. Caleb Jones goes around a couple, has a great move that is saved. Kapanen was not happy with a hit. 4:45, Chicago penalty to Entwistle for high sticking, which would be killed. If we go to the second period, we're at 15:35. It's a St. Louis tap-in goal for Jakub Vrana, 10th of the season from the former Blackhawk Brandon Saad and Braden Shen to make it 1-0. Dickinson is saved. Falk is saved. 9:55, St. Louis penalty to Neighbors for tripping. And on that power play at 9:36, it's a Chicago one-timer power play goal. Andreas Athanasiou on the tic-tac-toe. 15th of the season from Tyler Johnson and Radish to make it 1-1. 7:01 then, it's a St. Louis deflection post and in goal from Logan Brown. 2nd of the season from Falk and Levo to make it 2-1. Levo, a champion, Calder Cup champion with the Chicago Wolves last year. I remember him because I was looking at, when I was watching the Calder Cup, since the Wolves are actually quite close to where I live. So there was a big thing while the Hawks were kind of sucking. The Wolves were gaining a lot of traction. Of course, now all their good players went up to the NHL, except Kachenkov, who's been under the NHL this year, but like Drury and Nosen and Levo, all these guys have gone up. St. Louis has good pressure, and at 6:23, they make it 3-1. It's a 3-on-1 goal, 7:01 minus 6:23, so it's about 40-ish, 38 seconds, I think. Yeah, 38 seconds after their Logan Brown goal. It's Alexei Toropchenko. I hate that name. It's so hard to say sometimes. 8th of the season. That's a nice name, though. 8th of the season from Pitlick and Falk to make it 3-1. And at this point, I think, okay, good. We're probably going to lose this game. Then it turns around as Athanasiou has a big hit on the Australian Walker. Reichel hits the post, and at 5:19 it's a St. Louis penalty to Shen for tripping, which would be killed. And at 1:08 it's a St. Louis penalty to Binnington, which would be served by Vrana for tripping. That was a weird one. I didn't think Binnington deserved a penalty there. He was out of his crease definitely, but to call it a penalty, I don't know. We go to the third, where right out of the gate, Hawks start with 42 seconds of power play time. I was having an aneurysm. Kurt Busch was in the booth. He's a NASCAR driver. He won the 2017 Daytona 500. Big Chicago sports fan. And he was in the booth for the first 12 minutes of the third, and he was having great commentary, and it was enjoyable. 19:29, 31 seconds into the period, it's a Chicago tap-in goal. Tyler Johnson with his 10th of the season from Radish and Reichel to make it 3-2. 14:51, Chicago penalty to Zaitsev for holding, which was not a good call at all. It would be killed. Saad high sticks Radish, and there is no call. 10:35, St. Louis has a post-in goal. It's Kyrie with his 34th of the season from Blais and Kapanen to make it 4-2. But even though they scored that goal, the Hawks were quite dominating the third period, I thought. And then at 9:59, Kachuk receives a pass. He ends up going through two different players and makes the move around Bennington. I did not know Boris Kachuk had this in him. It was a fantastic goal, his 5th of the season. Seth Jones and Caleb Jones with the assists. Got some brotherly assists right there. Makes it 4-3. And I thought the Hawks were going to tie it and get a point, and I was ready to lose my mind. And then Radish has a fantastic move, and he's wide. He was angry about it. Hawks are pressuring late. Minute 13 to go. However, it's a St. Louis empty net goal. Brandon Saad, the former Blackhawk, one I have a jersey of. My dad has it, the Winter Classic from 2015 jersey of him. 19th of the season, unassisted to make it 5-3. Mrazek was pulled at 3 minutes, and so they held off for a minute 47, but that minute 13 goal seals the deal. Other news around the league. Boston, I can't believe I didn't fix this. Of course, yesterday, which we'll get into. So yesterday, two things happened in that Boston game. Firstly, Boston wins against Columbus in overtime to get their 58th win of the season, and they clinch the President's Trophy in the conference, so they get the P next to their name, and that was before any Western Conference team had clinched the playoffs. Vegas clinched the playoffs later that night, as although they lost in overtime to San Jose, Nashville lost, so therefore they were in. Edmonton moved ahead of the Oilers in a big win up there. McDavid got his 61st goal. Back to the Boston game. Since Columbus was able to force overtime against Boston, they get a point. And with now the Hawks and Blue Jackets are tied at 54 points, and the Hawks have the tiebreaker, so currently they have the best odds for the first overall pick. Fantastic. That is what we want. Hawks, you just need to lose the last 7 games in regulation. You got 7 more games in April, and once that's done, just do that. Just lose them all in regulation. Don't try to win. Don't try to get fancy. If Jonathan Toews retires, we can do a celebration for that. Because he's supposed to be back Saturday against the Devils. But we can only hope, because this season has the potential to change the Hawks franchise forever. It's kind of like 2007 when the Hawks got Kane. If the Hawks can do this, amazing. But that's going to be all I have for you guys today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I started thinking of ideas for after the playoffs now, since the playoffs are right around the corner in about 2 weeks. Getting ideas for after the playoffs are going to be interesting. So, or even during the playoffs, during like the series, which I'm like, let's say it's they all go like 6-7 games. I'm not gonna have a lot to post in between there. So we'll see how that goes. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.